Allie gave me a curious look as I slipped into the passenger seat.
What are you doing down here? With Ewan? Oh, and for the record, I super appreciate the informative text I got beforehand.
Sorry. I meant to do it, but got a little distracted.
Bye, Ewan.
Oh, please. Also, can you stop looking at me and please watch the road?
But you haven't answered my question yet.
Don't blame it on Spencer. It wasn't Spencer's fault. Well, I mean, partly. I just wanted to have another look at the bridge. That's all.
I told you to stay away from there, if you'll recall.
I know, but you also said the Spriggan was relocated, so I thought it would be fine.
It was relocated, so why bother going back there?
I don't know. I don't know. I had this feeling like I needed to go look at it.
Oh my god, please do not start with the weird fairy compulsions.
Fairy compulsions?
Yes. Fae are notorious for their compulsive behavior. Just don't start.
What kind of compulsions exactly? Could that be what the sleepwalking was? Some nighttime compulsion to go, I don't know, befriend woodland creatures? Dance in the moonlight? Though it doesn't feel like that. Then again, my experience with Fae compulsions was pretty limited.
What kind of compulsion? Anything. Everything! Hiding stuff, hoarding stuff, stealing stuff.
Sleepwalking? She gave me a suspicious look. That's oddly specific. Yeah. Thank you, Allie.
Why specifically mention that one?
Well, I mean, I've sort of been doing that since we got back. Oh my god, I can't believe that we're at this point as well. This is chapter 1. We're not even done chapter 1 yet, and we're like, girl's cognizant of her sleepwalking. Spencer is being super sus and weird and like trying to figure things out really like earlier than usual. And now not only did Elliot catch her sleepwalking, so he knows about her sleepwalking, but she just on her own is like, yo, Allie, I'm sleepwalking. This is amazing. I love everything about this. Even this specifically. Whew, girl. Like, out into the woods at night. Oh god, not again. What? You're doing what? Road! Allie, look at the road! Oh my god! Allie jerked the car back into our lane while I clutched the dash and waited for my life to stop flashing before my eyes.
Sorry about that.
Jeez! Sorry! I don't even know if I should tell you more. You might get us killed if I keep talking.
Well, you sprung that on me out of nowhere.
I didn't mean to. I mean, would you rather I not tell you? The answer is no. We know this. We were both silent for a few seconds.
You've been sleepwalking outside. Really?
Yeah.
When did this start, exactly?
Well, when we got back here. Actually, the first time was the day I joined the club, to be specific. I got all the way out into the woods before I woke up that night. Would have done it again last night if it hadn't been for Elliot. It's happened several times since then. Every time I'm either outside or trying to get outside.
It started a week ago and you're just now telling me?
Girl, sometimes the girl won't tell you for a lot longer than that, so be thankful. Well, I just initially figured it was stress or something, but now I'm not so sure.
Why not?
I'm usually dreaming when it happens. Kind of? But I guess it's more like a lucid dream? Only not quite. I mean, it's like part of me is awake and walking around, while the other part of me is just watching, half asleep. I can't really control myself like you're supposed to be able to in a lucid dream. It's weird. It's like I'm being driven to go out. That's why I thought of it when you mentioned compulsions. It kind of freaks me out, to be honest.
Well, that's understandable. And no matter what the cause, it isn't safe for you to be walking around in your sleep, especially this time of year.
The Samhain thing again.
It's a rough time of year for midnight escapades.
I really just want to get a decent night's sleep.
You do look pretty tired.
Yeah, well, I feel pretty tired too.
Look, I'll try to find a solution that at least helps keep you inside. Finding out why you're sleepwalking in the first place is one thing, but for now we need to find a way to stop you from getting out of your room. I have a friend that might be able to help with that.
How exactly? Because whatever we do, it has to be something Mom won't notice.
Well, I want to talk to Shelly about it first, but I have a few ideas. Besides, it'll be good for you to meet some of the other club members. Some of the ones that don't show up or get involved as often. Just so you know, we're all normal.
Literally none of you are normal.
You just have to change your definition of normal.
If I change it any more than I already have, it's going to lose all meaning entirely. At school, Allie and I huddled together against the cold as we headed inside. We usually arrived early for Allie's extra credit work in the office, but my little bridge excursion has set us back. The hall was busier than usual. We split up as she went to check in, and I decided what to do with what little time was left before class. After dropping my books by my locker and taking a bathroom break to clean the last of the mud off my boots, I didn't really have time to go up to the club room like I'd been doing the past few mornings. It meant no research or reading before class, which was a little disappointing, but I just headed to literature instead. There wasn't much time before the first bell anyway. There were already quite a few students milling around the class when I got there. Danny and Elliot were swamped by a group of friends on the opposite side of the room, as usual. They waved, and as I waved back, Danny motioned me over. Elliot, head propped on his arms, appeared to be nodding off. Well, that was usual. I shot Danny a smile as I sidled alongside his desk. Sleeping Beauty is out again.
Literature seems to be a decent cure for his insomnia.
Class hasn't even started yet. As his friends took turns trying to prod Elliot awake, Danny gestured me closer.
Looks like we're getting seats moved around again. If you end up with Elliot, do me a favor and keep him out of trouble.
Trouble? What kind of trouble is he in literature? We were desk mates for like half of a route one time and then got moved and he was super sad. But I don't remember him getting into trouble. He gets into trouble a lot?
Well, he falls asleep a lot.
I did notice that. But what if he ends up with someone else? The chances I'll end up with him are pretty slim. Danny leaned a bit closer in, quickly looking toward his friends, who were still teasing Elliot.
I think you'll find people in our club often end up partnered together in this class.
Really? Why would that be the case? Unless the teacher was a cryptic too. They really keep us corralled together, don't they? Yeah, no, I'll help him. I don't know if Ewan has literature, but if he is, our literature teacher is a major shipper most of the time, unless it's Elliot. So, we'll see. But sure, I can at least promise you that. Give you some peace of mind, Danny. It was kind of weird that they kept us together like that, but in the end, I could see why it would be more convenient for everyone that way. Sure, I'll help him out if we sit together. Danny looked pleased at that. He shot me the usual friendly smile.
Glad to hear it. I can't help but worry about him. He doesn't always pay the closest attention to his grades.
Already worried he won't graduate?
Elliot does nothing but worry me half the time.
I laughed quietly, amused by his mothering. I hope he finds a way to handle his insomnia a bit better, though. Not sure how possible that was when the reason he probably wasn't sleeping was because he was a vampire.
Well, he usually manages. But between both his part-time jobs, it's gotten a bit tougher.
Both of them? I knew he interned with that weird agency Allie worked at. I had no idea he had another job too, though. But Danny didn't get a chance to answer. Mrs. Roberts stepped inside, and the chattering quieted down as we were quickly assigned new seats and partners. Bye, William. It was nice that I sat with you for like one day. Danny had definitely called it. I was, in fact, assigned to sit with Elliot. Danny was with Allie, across the room from us. Mark and William were each still alone. Well, I mean, William needs a seat for his ghost fan club, and nobody wants to sit with Mark. I had no idea why they'd be separated when the rest of us were grouped up. But whatever. Maybe Mark had taken to eating his classmates, so they had to isolate him. Forever the cannibal. I doubt that, but the idea makes me laugh. It also just occurs to me that Mark heard all of that. And they're just stewing in the front like, I don't eat people. Bleh. Elliot gave me a tired smile as he slid into his desk. I was, not prepared for all the Elliotness that this route has off. I think I've spent more time with Elliot so far than Ewan, and that's disconcerting to me. He really did look worse than normal. I knew he didn't sleep much at night, but his circles under his eyes were deep and darker than before. Why are we all having sleep troubles? I mean, I know why I am, but Spencer's also having sleep troubles, and you're having sleep troubles. What's going on? You can't fall asleep now, Elliot. Elliot Moose, wake up.
Hi.
His yawn kind of ruined the greeting, but it made me chuckle. Tired?
How could you tell?
I hope that wasn't my fault. I actually barely remembered what had happened the night before, but I knew Elliot was the one who'd gotten me back up to my house safely. I gave him a sidelong look, but he didn't seem like he was going to bring it up or anything. He yawned again, head dropping onto his hands. I suppressed a giggle as I watched him. Poor guy.
Tell me when class is over.
No. You are going to be reading Shakespeare with me, I hope you know. He gave me a pleading look. Nope. No naps for you. Sorry.
Oh, man.
Class was interesting. I already missed my previous reading partner. Bye, William. Though it was at least funny listening to Elliot read, we were both yawning so much it was also torture. Oh man, I forgot about Elliot and Mark being partners once upon a time and their atrocious reading. I started elbowing him in the side every time he started to yawn, just because each time he did it, it made me yawn too. By the time the bell rang, my head felt like it was going to crack open if I yawned one more time. The rest of the morning went pretty fast. I was grateful to finally be heading to the cafeteria for lunch. I stepped through the door, scanning for Danny and Elliot since I typically sat with the two of them. They had pretty much adopted me after my first day back. I didn't know if it was just a sense of responsibility, or if they really wanted me to sit with them, but I wasn't questioning it for now. It was better than sitting alone.
Hey!
I started over to the usual table, ignoring the voice at first. I just assumed it was someone yelling to their friends.
Hey! You!
Hi! You were not the one I was expecting. Okay. I glanced over my shoulder and came face to face with an incoming pink blur that slammed into me. Ow!
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
I looked up, rubbing my poor smashed nose. I knew this guy. Drake or something? He was a club member, but we'd never spoken before. His pink hair was hard to forget, though. Not so much because it was pink. I mean, he wasn't the only kid in school with brightly colored hair. Hair dye was a thing. There was just so much of it.
Hi, Nora.
Hello?
Oh, right, sorry. I forgot we haven't really been introduced yet.
The boy beamed and held out his hand. Has Ewan been talking about me to you?
I'm Drayson.
Oh, right. Drayson. That was his name. Did you need something?
Oh, I'm a friend of Ewan. He said I should come say hello.
Okay. My brow furrowed at that. Ewan asked one of his friends to say hello to me? Ewan had friends? Damn. This pink-haired tornado was one of Ewan's friends? This did not compute. Ewan told you to say hello. Why? Drayson frowned, slightly confused. I watched him stand there for the longest time, gears almost visibly turning. I wonder if that's his natural color. Now that I was looking closely, I realized he also had a strange mark on his forehead. It was mostly obscured by his hair, but it looked almost like a scar or something. I never noticed that until now. You're right, look at that. I thought it was just hair. Were you the boy that lived, Drayson?
I don't know, really. He just seemed to think I should.
He shrugged and smiled again.
But it's still nice to meet you.
I laughed slightly. I really could not imagine this guy being Ewan's friend. Talk about an odd couple.
So, wanna get lunch somewhere else?
Huh? What are you doing? Where else exactly? This was the cafeteria, after all. Drayson looked around again and dropped his voice even more.
It's a club secret. Come on.
Okay. That piqued my curiosity, I couldn't lie. A club secret? Involving lunch? And secret club sandwiches? Mysterious. This is very out of the blue. I mean, maybe Drayson is able to pick up that Ewan is very interested in Nora because they're friends? Either that or he's playing like an Adrian and trying to move in before Ewan does. I don't know if he's trying to like set her up with Ewan for lunch and be like, oh, hey, this is the place. Crap, I forgot something. I'll be back. Go hang out with my boy Ewan. And then Ewan will be furious and just be like, meh, I'm not talking. I mean, I should probably at least let Danny and Elliot know where I'm going. Not the bottom one for sure. It's like one of these two. I'm sus of this boy right now. I've liked you in the other routes, Drayson, but everyone is acting so suspicious. I'm just like, what is going on? I normally eat here, though, with Danny and Elliot.
It'll be okay if it's just one day, right?
He looked over my head and waved happily. I glanced back to see Danny watching us with guarded amusement. He also waved. I wasn't sure if I should desperately signal for help or just go with Drayson.
Come on, it's fun. Different club members go there all the time.
I just wasn't sure I wanted to. I couldn't explain the reluctance. It was more just... Yeah, no, I feel you. I'm with you there, girl. The feeling that the deeper I got pulled into all of this, the harder it would be for me to live normally, I guess. Probably a silly fear, considering how far in I already was. To be honest, I was thinking of using lunch to do some research. I hadn't really, but he seemed pretty irrepressible. I thought it might deter him. It did not.
Really? We could help. We can read books while we eat. It'll be fun.
I don't know.
Come on, everyone will be glad to help.
Everyone... who?
You'll see if you come with me.
Oh, God, he's worse than Corbin. He really is.
Please?
Okay, fine. I shot Danny a helpless smile and waved as Drayson dragged me away. I felt a bit like I was being abducted, to be honest. Yeah, what is going on?
We can stop by the library first if you want.
No, that's okay. It seemed like he was taking me that direction anyway. Either that or we were just going to the club room. Which, I mean, technically the club was a club secret, but surely that wasn't actually our destination. You know that I already know about the club room, right? That face! Look at these two! Just like wah at each other. Drayson gave me as scathing a look as he was probably able to muster.
We're not stopping here.
He pulled me to the library door and knocked, though it wasn't the usual 3-knock pattern that led to the library. He opened the door and stood there waiting for me. I hesitated for a second. I hear birds. Where exactly was he taking me? Curious, I stepped through the door to find out. Okay, so you beat Ewan to, like, the date place. So, well done on that, I guess. I don't know what it was that I expected. Not the small, sunny courtyard I stepped into. I looked around in amazement and delight. The warm air felt more like early summer than mid-autumn, and the foliage was all bright green, so I had no idea where we were. Definitely not in Pine Hollow. Wow!
It's great, isn't it?
What is this place?
It connects the club to the murder.
That little cafe in town? So the school connected to a courtyard, clearly not in the same state, or maybe not even on the same continent, and that place connected back to a cafe in the town? That seemed unnecessarily complicated. Cool, but complicated.
Corvin's family owns that, you know.
Oh, I didn't know that actually.
Come on, our table is over here.
He started toward a table close to a small fountain. Someone else was already sitting there, though. Someone familiar. You eat with her? How? How did you pull that off? This is when I find out that you guys have been a couple all along and I'm only finding out now, because that would be amazing. She turned around, lifting an eyebrow as she glanced our way. I see you managed to drag her here. You were in on this too? That I struggled to believe. Why is everyone so sus? That whiny giant seemed to think you'd benefit from spending time with us. The whiny giant. Mm-hmm. He's just been talking to you guys about her constantly, hasn't he? Which, I mean, I'm flattered. Really? I didn't mean to sound so incredulous, but I wasn't sure how I'd benefit from spending time with them. Drayson and Brenna were an even stranger duo than Drayson and Ewan. Apparently he's distressed by your ignorance about Fae. Though this one doesn't even count as Fae to begin with. She leveled a scathing look at Drayson, then at me. So you're not a Fae. What are you, sir? Not that you're much better. I mean, I could tell she was insulting me, but that was kind of weird. I didn't even know what it meant. Drayson just ignored her as he pulled a chair out for me, smiling blithely.
Don't worry about Brenna. She always says things like that. Anyway, look, we ordered you a drink.
And indeed, at the place he was directing me to sit was a white cup with the silhouette of a black crow on it. Where's this from?
The murder. We order lunches from there when we eat here.
His smile faded and he bit his lip.
I didn't know what to order for you, though. I hope tea's okay.
Aw. I mean, I would prefer coffee, but tea's okay. I smiled slightly. He looked so worried about it, like I'd be mad if he ordered the wrong thing. Is this tea safe for consumption? I just realized, like, Ewan is not here. I'm like, am I safe by drinking this? Tea's fine. I'm usually more of a coffee drinker, though. He made a face.
But it's so bitter.
You can put sugar and milk in it, you know. He wrinkled his nose as he took a seat across from me. I mean, I agree with that part, at least. Brenna looked like she was barely paying attention to the conversation. I pulled the lid off the cup to check the contents. Whatever tea it was smelled slightly floral. I wasn't really much of a tea drinker, but I got the feeling if I didn't drink it, Drayson would probably feel bad. So... These choices. I have no idea. I mean, I don't really feel comfortable asking about Ewan when he's not here, because I get the feeling he's a very private person. So... Yeah, I don't think I would ask about Ewan. But between the two of you, I mean, I'm very curious about Drayson, because I know nothing about him. But I feel if I ask about Drayson, he will just not shut up for the entire time we're here. And if I ask about Brenna, she might just be like a catty bitch and maybe let something slip regarding like what I am by accident. Which could be entertaining. Let's try Brenna. That might be the most helpful. I don't know about you, sir. You're very confusing. Brenna? Yes? I really wanted to ask about her, learn more about what sort of fairy she was and all that. Maybe ask if she knew much about fairy things that live in houses. I wasn't quite sure how to jump into all that when she was being so standoffish, though. I never thanked you for helping me last week. With the Spriggan, I mean. That's actually a good point, Nora. I totally forgot that, Brenna was responsible for a couple of our bad endings right in the beginning of the game. So getting on her good side is also a good thing. Be on Brenna's good side, be on Spencer's good side. You can avoid like 90% of bad endings that way. Brenna scoffed and looked away. I wasn't helping you. I just like throwing their plans into disarray, that's all. Their plans? Whose plans? Spriggan Kidnappers Anonymous? I see. Well, thanks anyway. Or maybe I should unthank her if she hadn't been trying to help me anyway. Brenna looked my way again, eyes bright and calculating. Is that all you wanted to say? Well, I was kind of curious about what sort of fae you are. Or, I mean, just fae in general. I've been researching about them to find out about myself, too, and I thought... Brenna yawned and leaned back in her seat, cutting me off when she spoke. People like you should just keep their noses out of fae business if they want to keep them. People like me? What was that even supposed to mean? Ugh. What had ever given Ewan the idea that spending time with her would be helpful? Drayson reached across the table and covered my hand with his, giving me an innocent smile. Yes? Can I help you? You are a unicorn! Alright, I'm like, you gotta be a dragon or a unicorn. That's what the scar on your head is for, your horn! Oh my goodness, it all makes sense now. You have a beautiful pink mane. Okay. Are unicorns normally this forward? That's amazing. I love that you're a unicorn. That's the best.
If it helps, I'm a unicorn.
That? Okay, that didn't help at all. But he seemed far too earnest for me to actually tell him that. And if I hadn't been so irritated at Brenna, that revelation might have shocked me more. As it was, all I could think was that of course he was a unicorn, because what else would he be? Maybe a dragon! Think about it, like a pink scaly dragon. But now, unicorn makes sense. I see. I had no idea how else to respond to that. I guess that's what the mark on his head is?
Don't be mad at Brenna. She likes to keep things to herself. Fairies are like that sometimes. They're good at keeping secrets.
More like they're good at being annoying. I still had no idea why Ewan arranged for me to come here if Brenna was just going to be a brat the entire time and Drazen was a unicorn. Such a good question. And also, why wasn't he here? He'd set this all up and he hadn't bothered to show? If this was some weird fairy lunch committee, then shouldn't he be around? I have to sigh. Oh well, at least the courtyard was so pretty. And it was nice to have a quiet lunch for a change.